Attention please. This upload is only for educational purpose. No intention to infringe copyrights. Learning English with subtitles. GPITRAL. GPITRAL. Definitely a must-see. Follow us.
Daytime, blue sky, the top of dense woods.
Since the 1950s, in the Appalachians and Kentucky, there have been numerous sightings of a creature resembling a baboon or small ape. A primate-like beast, so aggressive, it's come to be known as the devil monkey.
The devil monkey is a very unique 5 to 7 foot tall baboon-like creature with pointy ears. It has very powerful hind legs, and it has 3 toes based on some of the tracks that have been found. Sometimes there is an odor. It's a musky, a dog-like smell that has been reported.
With sharp claws and large fangs, this beast is ready for a fight.
Running into a devil monkey in any kind of situation would be very dangerous. These creatures are very territorial and have been known to attack without any provocation.
That's the monster that Marva Morgan was contending with one night alongside her Kentucky home, just as she was closing the windows to a sudden awful smell.
Reenactment. She pulls up a blind.
I knew this creature was not human. I knew that it was something that I had never seen before, and I didn't know what it was going to do.
Eyeball to eyeball with the devil monkey.
It pounds the glass until it cracks.
It scared me so bad, and I screamed and run, and all the kids screamed and run and followed me into the bathroom.
My wife sat there and cried. She just couldn't even talk. It shocked her so bad. She couldn't tell me what she had saw. And then finally, she did calm down a little bit, and she said it was horrible.
It was there, the window.
What? What did you see?
I said, I can't tell you what it was, but I was afraid that this creature was going to come through that window. I was afraid for my kids.
Then they made a horrifying realization. Their youngest one was alone, out in the living room.
I was so afraid that I left my baby laying on the couch.
Easy prey for the mutant beast.
Reenactment. Wayman picks up the toddler who's been playing with a puppy.
Wayman feels blessed that he got to her in time.
Sunrise over the woods.
In the days and weeks after the terrifying ordeal, Wayman tried to make sense of the monster.
The co-worker that I worked with told me that he saw a little monkey. I said, "You did?" He says, "Yeah." It was squatted down, cupping water in its hands and splashing it on its face. I thought, well, maybe what we saw is what's growed up.
Though the creature never returned to terrorize the Morgans again, the memory still haunts Marva.
I don't think I have ever in my life felt that afraid.
These aren't happy little monkeys, to be honest with you. They're very aggressive. They're not to be trusted. I personally would not want to encounter one.
Sunset, a golden sky.
300 miles across the Appalachians to the east, in Saltville, Virginia, the same sort of maniacal monkey has also made its presence known. Generations of the Boyd family have lived in the same small Virginian town.
My father worked on the railroad for 13, almost 14 years as a fireman shoveling coal. My mom was a cheerful, happy-go-lucky person.
The oldest of 5 children, Scott Boyd enjoyed his childhood in the foothills of the Appalachians.
You were outside, you were in the woods, you were all over the place. Nobody gave it a second thought.
Until one evening in May of 1959, when that sense of safety would change.
Oh, I brought sandwiches if you want one for the ride.
Thank you, sweetie.
It is Mrs. Sandler's Jam from down the road.
It was moonlit, bright, and they were driving along
Be there ahead of schedule.
when my dad noticed a movement coming down through the woods on the passenger side of the vehicle.
What is that?
The animal jumped right straight out into the road, and it jammed his face right up in the passenger side window. My mother looked it right in the face, looked straight into his eyes, right into his face.
For 6 generations, the Boyd family has made coal country in the Appalachians their home. It's a place where the woods are alive with legends of a mysterious creature.
There had been people that had claimed to have seen and heard and run upon things in the woods that they couldn't explain and actually frightened them pretty bad.
One day, that kind of story arrived at Scott's front door.
I remember walking out in the broad daylight and looking at the car that my dad had been driving and seeing the damage down the side of that. My dad was the only one that would really talk about it because it seemed to have scared my mother so bad she didn't even want to listen to him talk about it.
It had all started hours earlier during the night when Scott's parents, Jim and Polly Boyd, were driving on a dark mountain road.
What is that?
Out of nowhere, a crazed monkey monster leaped towards the car.
It had its face pressed right up into the window with its lips curled back from its teeth and a snarl. Dad said you could hear it raking the side of the car, scratching and scrambling at the side of the car. And he said that it was running upright, pacing the car, reaching at the back of the car, grabbing at the back of the car.
They gunned it down the road, worried the creature might be following.
My dad, he had a hunting rifle behind the seat. So when he thought he'd got out far enough ahead of it, he put the car in neutral and was reaching behind him to get the rifle. And he said that it was coming at him so fast.
Go now, it's coming! Get back in here!
My mother, she's screaming and pleading for him not, please shut the door, let's go, let's go, let's go. And he just jerked his leg back in the vehicle and they sped off and left it behind.
Sunrise, his father shuts the car door.
My mom and dad came straight on home. I can remember my mom being real quiet and real pale.
His father checks the car.
They were scratches all the way into the middle, through the paint, from the passenger side window, all the way down the side of the car and going off the back end. They were in rows of 3. Never seen anything like it before or since. My dad seemed like he was almost embarrassed. You could see the fright on his face when he would talk about it. And that literally scared me to death, really. It bothered me for years after that.
Speculation of where this beast may have come from and why it exists runs rampant to this day.
Possibly the devil monkey could be a mutant that escaped from a government research facility, a regular animal that was experimented on, and the only way it can survive is to attack anything that it believes are food.
The area that the attack occurred in was highly polluted with heavy metals from a chlorine processing plant that was in the area. Maybe some of the pollutants in the area, the groundwater, whatever, had caused a mutation.
The creature's origin remains a mystery, but there's no doubt about the effect it had on Scott Boyd.
And that literally scared me to death, really. It bothered me for years after that. I had a hard time riding in a vehicle down a country road through a wooded area without constantly scanning the side of the road, waiting for something like that to jump out at the car.
Satellite image of the United States.
Residing in the geographic center of America's lower 48 is Kansas, the prairie state that Hollywood fashioned as the backdrop for a young girl's encounter with munchkins, wizards, and a wicked witch. While the movie's Wicked Old Hag was a Technicolor fantasy, in Kansas's capital city, Topeka, generations of residents have grown up hearing about a real-life witch. She appears wandering the streets looking like nothing more than a harmless old woman, But that's when the real terror begins. To those who've encountered the old crone, she seems hell-bent on revenge.
She wanted to scare. She wanted to make you feel terror the way she had possibly felt terror in life.
The most notable mystery that I think if you asked any of the folks who live here is the mystery of the blue albino woman.
Nighttime, a couple lie on the ground kissing. A woman's face with red eyes and sharp teeth appears next to them. A full moon. Caption, blue albino woman. Daytime, a side street with rubbish bins.
Many towns have stories about a monster. Topekans claim theirs started out human.
The blue albino woman, she was an actual real person who lived in Topeka, and the monster stories started to become while she was still alive because she had such a unique appearance. She was purely pale white. She had pink eyes, long white hair. You could definitely, when you saw her, she caught your eyes, caught your attention.
No photographs exist of this woman. No one seems to know her name. Yet for many locals, she's their worst nightmare.
She appears at a bedroom window.
I'm sound asleep and I suddenly wake up and there she is. She's standing at my screen window looking at me. I was that far away from her. It was terrifying, absolutely terrifying.
Well, the common legend for the Blue Woman is that she was a resident of this town, that she was tormented by the populace, and that upon her death, she was unable to leave or to find rest.